Hello, story lovers. Tonight, we're diving into a tale of passion, secrets, and choices that could change everything. Hearts will be broken, love will be tested, and every twist will leave you on the edge of your seat. Comment below where you're watching from. And if this story moves you, hit like, subscribe. Share it with someone who loves a powerful love story. And tap the bell so you never miss the next thrilling chapter. Ready? Let's begin. The fluorescent lights of Chicago O'Hare cast harsh shadows as Olivia Martinez clutched her worn purse, watching her ex-boyfriend Derek Walsh stride toward her like a predator sensing weakness. His perfectly tailored suit and the stunning red head on his arm screamed success, everything she would never be. 6 months since he'd shattered her heart, calling her too ordinary for his ambitions. And here he was, ready to twist the knife deeper, still shopping at thrift stores. I see. Derek's voice cut through the gate area like a blade. His companion Vanessa giggled behind manicured nails. Oh, Derek, you didn't tell me she was so quaint. Heat flooded Olivia's cheeks as passengers began to stare. Derek's voice carried deliberately as he continued his assault. Still teaching at that little school? What do they pay you? 30,000? That's barely enough to survive. His platinum watch caught the light as he adjusted it with theatrical precision. I always told you that bleeding heart nonsense wouldn't get you anywhere. Panic clawed at Olivia's throat. Her eyes darted desperately around the waiting area until they landed on him. A man 3 seats away, absorbed in his phone, tall even while sitting. Dark hair, broad shoulders, beneath a simple black sweater, expensive jeans that whispered wealth without shouting it. Something commanding about his stillness drew her like gravity. Driven by desperation, she leaned toward the stranger. Please, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I need your help. Pretend you know me. The man looked up and Olivia found herself drowning in the most striking gray eyes she'd ever seen. Intelligent, calm, with depths that seemed to see straight through her soul. For a terrifying heartbeat, she thought he'd ignore her plea. Instead, Nathan Pierce set down his phone and stood in one fluid motion, towering over her with a presence that shifted the entire atmosphere of the gate area. There you are. Sweetheart, Nathan's voice was rich honey over steel as his arm slipped around Olivia's waist, pulling her protectively against his side. The warmth of his touch anchored her in the storm of humiliation threatening to drown her. I was wondering where you'd gone. Derek's smirk faltered, his calculating gaze traveling from Nathan's understated luxury to his commanding presence. Vanessa's eyebrows shot up, amusement shifting to sharp curiosity. I don't think we've been introduced, Derek said, his tone less certain now. Extending a hand that hung awkwardly in the air when Nathan didn't immediately shake it, Nathan came the simple reply, offering no last name, no explanation. His gray eyes fixed on Derek with the kind of steady gaze that made lesser men squirm. Olivia and I should get going. First class? Vanessa asked, unable to hide her interest. Nathan's lips curved in the faintest smile. Something like that. As the boarding announcement echoed through the terminal, Nathan guided Olivia toward the gate, his hand warm and steady against her back. The flight attendant's face lit up with recognition. Good afternoon, Mr. Pierce. Right on time as always. Olivia's steps faltered as the pieces clicked into place. The deference in the attendant's voice. The way other passengers glanced their way with recognition and respect. The effortless authority that seemed to radiate from Nathan like heat from a fire. Who are you? She whispered as they walked down the jet bridge. Nathan paused at the entrance to first class, his gray eyes meeting hers with an intensity that stole her breath. Someone who knows what it's like to be underestimated, he said softly. The question is, Olivia, are you ready to find out what that means? The private jet's leather seats cost more than Olivia's annual salary, but it wasn't the luxury that made her hands tremble. It was Nathan's silence as he stared out the window, his jaw tight with an emotion she couldn't read. I never asked for this, she finally said, gesturing at the champagne she hadn't touched, the meal she couldn't eat. I just needed 5 minutes of dignity. Nathan turned, and something raw flickered in those gray depths. Dignity, he repeated, the word carrying weight she didn't understand. Do you know what Derek Walsh did to secure that partnership he was bragging about? Olivia shook her head, suddenly afraid of the answer. He sold out 3 families. Forced them from homes they'd owned for generations to make way for luxury condos. One of those families had a daughter about your age. Nathan's voice was quiet, deadly. She was a teacher, too. The air in the cabin grew thin. How do you know this? Because I've been watching Derek Walsh for 2 years, waiting for the right moment to destroy him. Nathan's smile was sharp as a blade. And you, Olivia Martinez, just became my perfect weapon. The words hit her like physical blows. You're using me. We're using each other. Nathan leaned forward, his presence overwhelming in the confined space. You want to show Derek you're more than he ever imagined. I want to watch his world burn. Together, we can have both. Olivia's throat felt raw. And if I say no? Nathan's expression softened, and for a moment she glimpsed something vulnerable beneath the calculated coldness. Then you go back to your life, and I go back to mine. But Derek will keep hurting people. You'll always wonder what might have been different. The jet began its descent into San Francisco, city lights spreading below them like fallen stars. Olivia closed her eyes, feeling the weight of choice pressing down on her chest like stone. 3 months later, Olivia barely recognized herself in the mirror. Designer clothes, perfect makeup, jewelry that caught cameras at charity galas and society events. She'd become Nathan Pierce's perfect girlfriend, the school teacher who'd captured a billionaire's heart. The press ate it up. Derek's face had been priceless when the photos first appeared, but Nathan's penthouse felt like a beautiful prison, and his touches had grown mechanical, distant. The man who'd saved her at the airport had disappeared behind walls of calculated manipulation. The Carmichael Foundation Gala is tonight, Nathan said without looking up from his laptop. Wear the blue dress. Derek will be there. Why does everything revolve around hurting him? Olivia's voice cracked. When does this end, Nathan? He finally looked at her, and she saw exhaustion in those gray eyes that matched her own. When he's lost everything that matters to him, like you're trying to lose me. The words hung between them like a live wire. Nathan closed his laptop slowly, his hands steady despite the storm she could see building in his expression. You want to know the truth? His voice was dangerously quiet. I didn't plan for this. Didn't plan to care about your laugh, or the way you hum while making coffee, or how you still light up when you talk about your students. He stood, moving to the window that overlooked the city. You were supposed to be revenge, Olivia. Clean and simple. And now. Nathan turned, and the vulnerability in his face stole her breath. Now I'm terrified that when this is over, you'll walk away and I'll have nothing left but the hollow victory I thought I wanted. Olivia moved toward him, drawn by the raw honesty in his voice. Nathan, Her phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it absently, then froze. The message was from Derek. Ask your billionaire boyfriend about Sarah Martinez. Your sister didn't die in an accident, Olivia. She died because of him. The world tilted sideways. Sarah, her younger sister who died in a building collapse 5 years ago. Sarah, whose death had driven Olivia to teach. To try to save other children, the way she couldn't save her sister. She looked up at Nathan, and the guilty devastation in his gray eyes told her everything she needed to know. Asterisk the rain against. Nathan's penthouse windows sounded like bullets as Olivia stood frozen. Derek's message burning in her hand. Nathan's face had gone white, every carefully constructed mask finally stripped away. Tell me it's not true, she whispered. Nathan's silence was answer enough. When he finally spoke, his voice was broken glass. The Martinez apartment building. 5 years ago. My construction company built it. His hands shook as he ran them through his hair. I found out about the faulty materials 2 days before it collapsed. I tried to evacuate the building, but the manager wouldn't listen. Said it would cause a panic. My sister died because you were too late. Each word felt like swallowing razors. Your sister died because I was a coward. Nathan's gray eyes were wet, raw with a pain that matched her own. I could have gone public, forced an evacuation. Instead, I tried to work through channels, afraid of the scandal, the lawsuits. By the time I acted, it was too late. Olivia sank into a chair, the weight of betrayal crushing her chest. You knew. This whole time, you knew who I was. From the moment you said your name at the airport, Nathan fell to his knees before her, his hands reaching for her before falling away. I told myself it was fate, a chance to make amends. But the truth is, I was selfish. I wanted to be close to you, pretend I could earn forgiveness I don't deserve. Get away from me. The words came out hollow, empty. Nathan stood slowly, his face carved from stone. I've transferred $10 million to the school where you teach, Sarah's scholarship fund. And Derek's company? It'll be bankrupt by morning. Everything I promised you, Olivia. Everything except the one thing that matters. He moved toward the door, then stopped without turning around. I love you, he said quietly. I know that means nothing now, but I needed you to know. You made me want to be better than the man who let your sister die. The door closed behind him with a soft click, and Olivia was alone with the rain and the weight of choices that couldn't be undone. 6 months later, she stood in her classroom, watching 5-year-olds discover the magic of reading. The Sarah Martinez Learning Center bore her sister's name, funded by a ghost who'd loved her enough to walk away. Sometimes she caught herself looking for gray eyes in crowded places, wondering if redemption was possible for broken people trying to heal each other. But some wounds cut too deep for love alone to mend, and some sacrifices were too great for forgiveness. Yet in quiet moments, when rain drummed against windows and memories ached like phantom limbs, she remembered the warmth of his arms around her waist in an airport, and wondered if letting go was the greatest act of love or the deepest tragedy of all. The end.